Hello, this is 7L Counting. My name is Matthew.
I'm Carson Shattuck.
I'm Yash Chawla.
I'm Catherine Vu.
So we're going to be demonstrating our project, but first we'll show you through a couple of slides. So at first we have a project goals, and the essential goal of it was to create an accounting and financial software which a user will be able to have, statements shown or different functionalities of accounting shown, such as a balance sheet or a chart of accounts or an income statement. There's also different user roles. So, for example, an admin would have different user roles than a normal accountant and have different functionalities within the website to each certain role. And overall, the whole product is all binded together, and it is in using a Firebase authentication system for their logins and different user roles.
The project setup, we basically were split across GroupMe and Discord to begin with, but we just ended up being on Discord. And then in the very first sprint, we actually went ahead and put into a Discord channel all of our different things that we wanted to get done, like 1.1 through 1 point whatever, and we had all those just laid out and we would just grab them. But it got like really confusing, and we were kind of like mixing it all together, not really sure what was done. So we migrated to using GitHub issues, where we just posted all of the different requirements that we wanted to finish on GitHub, and then we would close the issue when it was done. And the tools used, well, we all used pretty much the same IDE, which was Visual Studio Code, and we also we installed things like npm onto our command line and Firebase so that we could deploy it, and we could also use the database. We used React.js, which is what we interacted probably with most, as well as like email.js is what we use to send emails, and React Calendar, we have a lot of interactivity with that, so it gives like hooks so that we can choose like a date range, and it modifies the financial statements that are given to you. Uh, and Vite, that just hosts the website so that it basically makes it available to the public web. And then .env, it gives us environment variables that we can use inside of our application, which allows us to post our code on GitHub without revealing sensitive information.
So some obstacles we overcame or saw through our project was initial project setup and the structures of it. We went back and forth a lot on certain things and how we wanted to initially lay out. But overall, we did manage to find a solution. Knowledge sharing, Matthew knew a lot in the initial process of the project. So going to him just for all of our problems, because it's kind of taxing on him towards the sprint one. But as sprints carried on, Carson picked up a lot as well. So it was a lot of sharing between Matthew and Carson's knowledge. If Matthew didn't know one thing, we went to Carson and vice versa. Maintaining overall code structure, we all had kind of different coding styles, I would like to say. So just making sure our code is easily readable with everyone and also easy to follow along, adding comments whenever needed, or just answering questions. If possible, and limiting what was on what page, so it makes it easier to follow. Learning and implementing accounting knowledge throughout our entire website. Um, we use documentation that was provided through the professor, and also any online knowledge, and also any previous code that was written beforehand. We kind of referenced back to it.
All right, so in terms of skills obtained, at least for me personally, coming into this project, I was completely unfamiliar and had never used things like Git, React, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. I had never done any web development, and I know a couple other group members were also in the same boat. So we've learned lots of skills throughout the course of the project in terms of all the different frameworks and languages that we've used. Um, and me in particular, I've just learned a lot throughout the course of this project. We've also learned other things such as project management and how to properly code and structure our files. Around Sprint 2, I went through and reworked the entire architecture of the project, and that really helped clean things up and make everything a lot more clear. And that also increased my skills heavily in terms of understanding how to manage a project and how to modularize components and things like that. And we also learned things about Firebase and how the authentication works, how the database, the real-time database works, how the storage system works to hold files. And And I think that's pretty much it.
All right, I'm now going to demonstrate the project. So we're going to go over all the different functionalities of the program. And so to begin, let's go ahead and register an account. So you just fill in generic information like your name, your address, and email. And we have security questions also built in. And it also asks for your date of birth. So I'm just going to put my favorite color as blue and my favorite food as sushi. And I'm just going to go ahead and set my password as well. And you can see before you type your password, it doesn't have anything to say. But when you put in the first letter, you can see that there's X's and check marks based off of the requirements of the password. Like, for example, the password must begin with a letter. And if I put 1 instead, that would obviously be X. So I'm just going to put in a password that meets all the criteria and register. Oh, sorry, this one's already in use. There we go. Register. And it says access request submitted. Please wait and check your email for approval. And I just press OK. So as you can see, there's nothing until we get accepted by an administrator. And that's what it said in the original message. So I'm going to go ahead and log out and log in with an administrative account instead. All right, and I'm going to edit my user and set them to a user, which would be the equivalent to an accountant, and then approved to yes and save changes. And now I'm going to log out and log into that account. And now we can see that it says that I'm an accountant, and then it says my username. And we have the logout button here and the dashboard. If I want to get back to this screen, it's showing our liquidity dashboard and our profitability dashboard with these nice graphs and profit margins and current ratio. And we can also take a look at the chart of accounts, where at the bottom, as well as on the main page here, you can email the managers for assistance. And I'm just going to give an example: issue message, and I'm going to go ahead and submit that. And it says email successfully sent. And if I check my email, which is a manager, you can see right here it says what email I did it from, which is the same email that I logged in from. And it said hello manager. So the message would be in here, and also would say that this, where it says issue, would be whatever you typed in the message box, or like the title box. Okay, and yeah, so chart of accounts. So here's our chart of accounts. If I went to accounts receivable, for example, you can see all of the account ledger, and you can also click on individual entries here, and you can see the journal entry details. And then you can also go into the event log, and you can see all the various things done to it, such as creating the account and journal entries and things like that. And also gives you the date and time that was done at, as well as the event ID. And then we have journalizing. One last thing that I forgot about chart of accounts is that if you click on filters here, you can also click on these various things, and it would add those things onto this table that we have here. And you can also reset it, and you can also disable them as well. Yeah. Okay, so let's continue into journalizing. And actually, there's one more thing that I also forgot to demonstrate, which is I could go and type in, for example, accounts, like accounts receivable and things like this. I can also look up the account number, like 206, for example, and that would help me go ahead and narrow down what I'm looking for. Okay, now the journalizing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put in an example journal entry, and I'll just do cash and inventory, and I'm like, yeah, 1,000 and 1,000. But if I did like 1,001, oh yeah, and the comments are automatically put in, so you can see as I type in, just the comments appear. But I put in numbers that aren't equal to each other. The total debits must equal the total credits, and you can add multiple entries. And as long as the sum of all of the entries here are equal to up here, it would succeed. And I'm just going to change the equipment really quick because that makes more sense. And if I press submit, it gives me a cancel or confirm. And when I press confirm, entry submitted. There we go. So that works. Great. And you can also, I didn't demonstrate this, but you can go ahead and drop any file in here, which would be extra documentation. And I demonstrated that in a previous sprint, but basically it works. It stores the document, and just any related data you can put right there. Okay. So we also have the general ledger. So something to note here is that you can also search up various things. So if I typed in cash, you can see all the accounts with cash involved. If I type in a date, it'll show me everything done on that date, for example. And also you can tell that like today is May 2nd. You can see that like what I put in journalizing just now isn't here because it hasn't been approved yet by a manager. So this just shows all the journal entries. All right, and also just one last thing I want to cover is that there's this nice little help button that gives general information about what it does, um, as well as our logo here, which would bring you back to the dashboard. Okay, so next up is the balance sheet. It'll tell you if it's balanced or not balanced based off of this number and this number being the same. All right, wait, I misspoke. Total liabilities and total equities is equal to total assets. So that's how this works. And since it's not the case, it's not balanced. Right, we have a journal entry that'll make it balanced, but we can't actually do that from the accountant user. We have to be on manager user. So we're just going to go and move on. And oh, one last thing is that I can press print page and it would show the page. I can also press save page and you can see that it's right here. It shows the whole page in an image. And then also I can press capture and send email. And I'm just going to go and send it to the email that I already have open, which would be this one right here, confirm. And that would send the email. And I can quickly check that it did send the email. Yeah, you can see right here from 7L Accounting, balance sheet from 7L Accounting. And it shows right here all of the information relating to that. And also one more thing is that you can click on the calendar here and we can go between a date range and actually this one isn't a range. You just click on a date and you can see on that day what the balance sheet was looking like. So you can see that it was balanced on April 24th with the cash of 120,000. Well, basically, total liabilities plus total equity was equal to assets. So that does work, and you can set it back to today, and you can see it's exactly what it was, and then you can also reset it, and it's just what it is today. Okay. So this was a snapshot in time. So I'm going to
Just go
go
in
to
order.
trial. I'm going to go to trial balance next. Okay. So so this one's also going to be a snapshot when I go into the calendar and click on a date. But for now, let me quickly show what it looks like. So you can scroll down. You can see the totals down here. And you can see debits and credits. So yes, you can see that the debit and the credit is the same amount, which is how it should be. And then I can go ahead and go back over here and do that same example where I go to 24, and you can see this 120,000 in cash and 120,000 in notes payable, and they equal each other out, and you can see that they're right there. And these buttons at the bottom work the same, so it would do the same exact functionalities. And resetting works as well. All right, so next report that we can take a look at is income statements. All right, so I'm kind of running out of breath, so I'm gonna have Carson explain this one.
So for the income statement, essentially, we took the total revenues and we subtracted that from or we subtracted cost of goods sold from the total revenues to get the gross profit. And that's generally how it's set up. And then we took the gross profit and we subtracted the rest of the expenses to get the net income before taxes. And then we chose just a standard tax rate of 20%. And then that gives us our total net income at the bottom. And for the income statement and retained earnings, it's going to be for a date range. So if Matthew wants to quickly show off selecting a date range for the income statement and how that would work.
Yeah, so this doesn't really have much of we can't really see anything because yeah, all of our entries were set up in like the same day, so it just says zeros for all that counts because all the journal entries don't really work with this. Even the one that we created is not really related to this income statement, so yeah, but you got to trust it works. Okay, so the next report that we have here is retained earnings statement, and you can see that it says what it is as of May 2nd, 2024. And we can also show the calendar here and go ahead and take a look. And maybe this one will. No, we don't have any related data to that. We might come back to this after we create some journal entries when we're going and looking at the manager. So this is just what that looks like. But these do work, and I'm gonna have Carson explain this a little bit.
So the retained earnings statement, essentially it takes the balance of the retained earnings account at whatever specific starting date. So for example, if Matthew selected a starting date, it'll say retained earnings as of that starting date. And then it'll add the income from that date range. And it calculates the income the same way the income statement does. It's just it's just all together in one quick function for the retained earnings statement. So it'll add the income onto the retained earnings, and then it'll subtract the dividends, which is another account, and then that will give you the retained earnings as of whatever end date that you chose.
All right, and the last report here is journal entries, where we're an accountant right now, which means we can't actually like we can't approve our pending things, but we can see the list of approved things, and we don't have any rejected ones right now. But I will demonstrate that in the manager role, which I can go to right now. But all of these adjust buttons are showing because if I hypothetically, I'm not going to actually adjust it because it's kind of a pain. But it gives you like everything that happened in terms of that, and I could go and change like the dollar amounts, and it'll go through all the same checking as the regular journalizing entry to make sure that they're equal and everything like that, and it'll basically send this journal entry out of the approved ones into the pending, so we're not actually applying that change, which is why accountants can do it. Okay,
You can adjust one real quick.
which one would
Just
you like me to
adjust one
adjust?
and remember the account. So do depreciation expense and accumulated depreciation. Adjust
This
that,
one?
and then you can show how it affects it on the trial balance because it's no longer accepted, and then you can just reapprove it. It'll work fine.
All right, sounds great. I will adjust this. What do you want? Like the dollar
You
amount?
don't you
Or
don't need to actually change the values. We can, but
here,
I'm
I'll
saying
change the
just
values to
submit.
1400 just because
Okay, yeah,
that way
that's
we
fine.
we can see that. Okay, cool. So I'm now going to submit and confirm, and it's done. And you can see now that it's up here in pending. And if we just quickly take a look through the reports, that yeah, I can tell that they have a slightly different number here. At least I believe they do. Yes. So you can see all of these have been modified just slightly. Because that whole entry is not approved anymore, so it should be about a $1,400 difference, or $1,200 difference, because that's what it was before. Okay, so now I'm going to go and move to a manager account. Actually, I'm going to go into my administrative account, and I'm going to modify my account again to, instead of user, be a manager. Save changes and log out, and go back into that account. So now you can see it's changed from accountant to manager, and you can see that it notifies you how many journal entries there are. So yeah, these two are the same, but if we now go here, you can see this nice notification thing. Thank you, Carson, to this notification thing. So we now go to journal entries, and you can see now we have the option to approve and reject these ones. And this is the one that I did, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and approve this one, right, Carson?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I press approve, and it's been moved to the approved category just like how it was, except now it's 1400 instead. And then also we have pending. Which one of these was going to equal that out? Oh yeah, this is the one that I made. So I'm going to go ahead and actually reject this one just because it's not really useful in any way. I'm just going to go ahead and reject that. And I'm going to give it a comment yeah, just for testing purposes. Okay, reject. And you can see now it's all the way down here in rejected. Oh yeah, and also you can see just pending in this view dropdown and approved, and you can also take a look at rejected. Okay, and you can also search by account, amount, or date. So I'm going to go ahead and type in like April, and you can see that all of my May ones are gone. All of these are on April 25th, just like I was saying earlier that yeah, we don't really have much of a date range on these because we did them all at once. And then you can also type in what account. So if I type in cash, you can see all of these have cash somewhere in there, and we can combine them as well. So approved cash, but I'll just put it back to all. And you can also put in the dollar amount. So if I put in 1,200, you can see that there's debits of 1,200. And this one's also correct because it's 120,000. And if I just put an extra zero, you can see it's just that one. So there you go. Okay, so this one right here should balance everything out. So if I go into balance sheet right now, you can see it's not balanced. 190,000 and 100 or 225. Yeah. So I'm going to go back into journal entries. And I'm going to approve this one. And it's moved into approved. And now I'm going, and you can see the notification is gone now. And I can go into balance sheet. I just realized the reason why it's not balanced is because I just made an adjustment from 1,200 to 1,400. So I'm gonna really change that back. I'm gonna change that back. 1,400 adjust. Let's make that into 1,200 because that messed up things. Submit. Confirm. Very responsive system. We can just fix it on the fly. Okay, balance sheet. Balanced. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And so you can see, yeah, total liabilities, total equity. That looks like the same number to me. So yeah, the calculation's working and it looks great.
But
So there's also, if I go back onto the dashboard by clicking here, and it even tells you dashboard, you can now see that our ratios are in the red. Current ratio, profit margin. Yeah, they were yellow and green before. And then also something else that you can do, and also an accountant can do this too, but I showed in chart of accounts. Similarly to how you can go to event log here, you can also go into reports and then event log at the bottom here, and you can see a total list of all of the things in the event log. So there you go. So this should be all that should be seen from manager. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the administrator account, which is just my account, and it says administrator. The ratios are the same, unfortunately. I mean, they're supposed to be the same, but they're red and sad. That's so sad. Okay, anyways. So we have chart of accounts, journalizing reports, but now we have accounts and users. So we can actually add in a new account. All right, so I'm going to make an account, test account. Oh gosh. Account number. Well, I know that like 100 is taken, so we're gonna just really test that because I know for a fact that yeah, account that like we can see a quick debug message. Test account for testing account category. Revenues with an S, right, Carson? Cool. Account subcategory. What should I put here?
it doesn't matter.
User ID. Well, I'm just gonna go and put in my own user ID. Why not? I'll go ahead and give it like an initial balance of like $1. Credit. Okay, add account. Account number already exists. See the errors, they work, and it works with the other ones too. I know we filled all the requirements because we marked them all off. So I'm just going to put in a number that I know probably, hopefully, doesn't have an account number. Account added. Ah, very nice. Okay, so now if I go into accounts, actually no, if I go into chart of accounts and find test account, yes, at the very bottom with this ridiculous number, you can click on it. There's no ledgers, and you can see the event log, which is me creating it. Wow, amazing. So I can go ahead and go now into activate and deactivate. And I'm going to actually deactivate that test account so it doesn't show up anymore because, wow, I just realized the account has, this is a great time to demonstrate, we can view various accounts and we can edit their values. So I'm now going to go ahead and find that test account with this nice search functionality, very nice. Press edit, change the initial balance, save changes. Close this. Great. So now if I go into activate/deactivate and I find myself test account and deactivate. Okay, so I understand what's going on here, which is when I edited the account, I didn't edit the balance. I actually edited the initial balance. So that was what I just did wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and view and edit again. I'm going to find that test account, edit, and you can see initial balance is 0, where balance is 1. So I'm going to change that to 0. And also, I like you can see if I just type in anything, it fills it in properly, which is great. So save changes. Now if I go back to activate/deactivate, find my test account again, deactivate, and it works. Amazing, beautiful. Okay, cool. So there's our test account deactivated. And now if I go back into chart of accounts, it's gone. No results found. I didn't even know that was there. That's super nice. Okay, cool. So so that's basically, let me just make sure, yeah, we can add an account, we can view/edit accounts, and we can activate and deactivate. So let's go and take a look at users next. So you can see that we can email a user from here. So for example, my own email here, I'm going to go ahead and send in just something random. There we go. And so I'm going to submit this. Gives me a nice message, email successfully sent. And if I go back over here, refresh. Aha, and it tells me it's from me. You've got mail on 7L Counting. And then hello from 7L Counting, the message, and the email that it came from, here and here. So if you wanted to send another email back, you can just, yeah, there you go. But, okay, back to the website. So that's the email functionality. You can also press edit, and we've actually used this quite a few times to approve and to change the user type. You can see my security question, which I'm going to come back around and reset my password. Yeah, and then Blue and Sushi. Cool. And then display name. So let me go ahead and actually, here, let's just demonstrate something working. I'm going to change my display name to just this and save changes. And once I refresh, there you go. And that works great. Okay, so moving on to users. So yeah, we have the security questions. Okay, so yeah, something else that I want to show is that on every single page, the help button has something different. So if I go into add accounts, if I go into activate/deactivate, so just all of these pages have something different, right? So and also if we take a look at like balance sheet, you can see that test account is in here, so that's nice as well. Journalizing, chart of accounts. Yeah, so I think we've covered everything. I'm just gonna quickly cover
You could do searching filters within the account ledgers real quick.
account ledgers.
Like click on cash and show off like the searching.
Oh yes, I completely forgot about that. So if I typed in April 25th, it would show everything on April 25th. If I typed in 36 160, you can see that that also pulls up, and so that's pretty cool. And I did show when you press PR, it shows these individual things. If I press event log, it shows everything relating to the account. So there you go. Okay, so I'm gonna log out, and let's just say that hypothetically I forgot my password. So I can press forgot password. I can put in this, and now it's gonna ask me what my favorite color is and what my favorite food is. I'm gonna go ahead and type in blue. Funny that autofill. That's from a previous thing. Sushi. Send password reset link, and it says that reset email sent. But let's just say that in theory I put these in wrong. It would say one of your answers is incorrect. Probably should say at least one of your answers is incorrect, but yeah. Anyways, so now if I go back into my email for like the 50th time, no reply at 7L counting, firebase.app. It says follow this link to reset your account password, and I can click on it. And I'm just gonna I'm just gonna set a password that's like obviously different. Password 1 exclamation. Save. There you go. So now if I go back on over to here, back to login, we don't have a show button, but maybe that'd be useful. But if I type in password 1, you can tell it's different because it's not blue anymore. And if I press login, let me try that one more time. I think I mistyped it. There you go. It worked. Great. And actually right here I can show you password 1 exclamation. And it wasn't blue before. So yep, that definitely works. So yeah, there's definitely other things that can be looked at, but that's pretty much like our main features. We definitely have a lot of error handling, a lot of different features that are going on here in the edge cases. We've done a lot of testing, so that's pretty much
Oh,
it.
you could show off our database just real quick and show like our error log and our event
Oh,
log
yes,
and
yes, yes,
stuff.
yes. So if I go into error log right here, you can see that every single time that something happens, that's an error, it will give a error string and the timestamp of when it first occurred and the number of times that it occurred. So you can see like, yeah, context is not defined. We've definitely had a lot of issues with that, and so every single time that we see this in here, we're just like, yep, that's definitely something we gotta like go look at and figure out what's going on. And some of these less counted ones is probably something that we just had an error for a temporary amount of time. And it also there's so many different like errors that JavaScript gave, but we also have yeah, there's like a lot of them. Like yeah, like debit is not defined. Actually, no, that's definitely also still a JavaScript thing. I guarantee you that there are some in here. It's just there's so many JavaScript ones, but there are lots of errors in here that are also just related to our application, such as like password failed, things like that. So we have just every single type of error coming through here. But I think that's it. Carson?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, great. I hope you enjoyed our presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.